Exactly 11 weeks after undergoing surgery to repair his torn Achilles, Aaron Rodgers' practice window for the New York Jets has opened. He has 21 days to be activated from the IR or go on the IR for the rest of the season. There were pictures of him practicing. The Falcons traveled to New Jersey this weekend to take on those Jets. What do you think, Chase? Is there any shot that this guy, 11 weeks after surgery from tearing his Achilles, does he have any shot of playing this weekend?
Well, it sounds silly, but is there anything about this situation that isn't silly? I mean, a guy tears his Achilles at almost 40 years old, or maybe he is 40 years, 39, 40-year-olds, whatever he is. That's almost, not only is that usually an 12 to 18th month recovery period, it's a lot of times at that age a career ender. Now we're talking about a guy who in less than 3 months time is practicing. And even just, it was silly seeing him without a walking boot after like 6 weeks. I mean, I know they went after a really aggressive, new kind of surgery, and listen, respect to Aaron Rodgers. He's a very polarizing figure, but he's doing something that really, listen, I think the most exciting aspect about all of this, especially if you're a player, is that Aaron Rodgers is basically being a guinea pig for this really aggressive surgery. And if he can somehow make a return, and I don't, first of all, I don't think it's going to happen this week against the Falcons. But if he can somehow make a return this season in some capacity and play decently, and most importantly, stay healthy, just imagine what a surgery like this on a 25-year-old could do, and what the change in medicine this would do, because the Achilles injury is something that doctors have struggled with. They don't understand it. They don't know why it happens with non-contact. There's a lot of unknowns here. And this would be just, I think I'm most excited about this whole experiment, because that's really what it is to see if it works, because this could be game changing for everything.
Yeah, it's not apples to apples, but you kind of think back to that Tua Tagovailoa tightrope surgery. He really popularized it when he was at Alabama, came back and played in that LSU game 2019 that LSU ended up winning and going on and greatest season in college football history. But Tua Tagovailoa kind of popularized that tightrope surgery, and now it's commonplace. There's plenty of examples of guys across multiple sports where they suffer high ankle sprains and they beat the timeline by, not only weeks, but months. This is similar in Aaron Rodgers' corner where, he could potentially popularize this, advanced, kind of, you said it, experimental surgery. Yeah, I tend to think there's just no chance he plays this weekend. I wouldn't put anything past the guy. He's obviously stubborn, feels like he is, against the world and wants to prove everybody wrong. Like you said, very polarizing. But there is one factor in all of this that cannot be overlooked. And it's the Jets offensive line. Man, this guy's 40 years old, coming off of this Achilles injury, and he's going to go back there behind a shoddy offensive line. Wouldn't be doing it a justice. This is a terrible offensive line. Zach Wilson, it doesn't matter who's back there, has been set up to fail, because this offensive line is absolutely terrible. So I don't know how, as a Jets coach, a Jets GM, the Jets owner, Woody Johnson, whoever you are in the organization, feel confident in putting Aaron Rodgers out there at 40 years old ahead of this is unprecedented return from an Achilles tear behind that offensive line. I just have a hard time believing that. There's no chance. I wouldn't put my most prized asset behind that offensive line. I guarantee you that.
Yeah, I mean, you got the Jets sitting here at 4-7. I mean,
what are you doing?
I guess if they were going to do this would be the week, because if they get to 4-8, they're pretty much out of the AFC playoff race. And maybe they look at this home game against the Falcons. This would obviously juice up the crowd, give energy to the entire team. So maybe if they're gonna do it, and Aaron Rodgers says he's healthy, that's the one aspect where I'm like, I don't think it's gonna happen. But I'm trying to think of if it's ever going to happen this year.
Could be
it would probably be this week, right? Like a game-saving week against a team that is definitely beatable in the Falcons at home. Doesn't necessarily have a great pass rush. So that's kind of an intriguing aspect of it. But I don't know if this is going to end. I obviously, the coaches and the players have to protect the players from themselves sometimes. And that could be the case here. But there just seems to be something about Aaron Rodgers kind of making a point here. And, it's going to be interesting. To me, as a fan, I really hope he does make an appearance at some point this season, because I got to see it. And I think all the players got to see it. And I think the football world's got to see it. But then again, it would be an absolute travesty and a nightmare for him to re-injure it. And that would have to be the end of his career. I mean, there's no there's no way he would be out next year too. And he'd actually have to go through a real Achilles surgery that, or the normal Achilles surgery. So it would be a travesty if it ended that way.
I just don't see a realistic. How are you going to treat Aaron Rodgers as if he's just, an expendable asset for your Jets organization? You're the Jets. You have no hope without Aaron Rodgers. And that hope is still very real in 2024. That defense is one of the best in the NFL. Weapons galore on the offensive side. Shore up the offensive line. Play for 2024 when Aaron Rodgers is fully healthy. I don't see the risk is far outweighs the reward in my eyes.
Yeah, well, we're going to get into more of this game, give our predictions. We're going to give our predictions with Tim Boyle as the starting quarterback.